Washington's denying China's statements that a U.S. destroyer has been forced from the South China Sea. On Thursday, the Chinese military said it drove the vessel away from disputed waters near the Paracel Islands. But the U.S. Navy says its destroyer is continuing its routine operations in the area and has not been expelled. Katrina is joining us now live from Beijing. What's the background to this, Katrina?
Well, it's certainly not the first time that Washington and Beijing have disagreed over what's happening in the South China Sea. But what makes this potentially dangerous is that this is happening at a time when Beijing and Washington are having very tense relationships, and distrust between both sides are at an all-time high. Now, according to China, they followed the U.S.-guided missile destroyer, the Milius. They said that it crossed without permission illegally into this area that Beijing calls Shisha by the Paracel Islands. It says that China's Navy monitored the ship and then ultimately drove it away. And Beijing says by this action, the U.S. is creating instability in the region. Now, Washington has released a counterclaim saying that this is a false statement and that the Milius continues what it says are freedom of navigation operations in international waters. Now, China claims much of the South China Sea, despite that resource-rich region being claimed by also many of its neighbors. This area where this confrontation took place is a 7-kilometer square zone by the Paracel Islands, which is also claimed by Taiwan and by Vietnam. Now, the U.S. says that China has been increasing its activities here, bullying other countries, and certainly it has been building up artificial islands here, intensifying its military activities. And as a result, we've seen the U.S. Focus on the Indo-Pacific for in more areas. It's done deals with Manila, for example, to build some bases in the Philippines. It's also agreed to supply Australia with nuclear-powered submarines. Now, Beijing says that all of this amounts to encroachment on its territory. Xi Jinping says that this is encirclement, and Beijing is simply responding by protecting its own sovereignty.
Katrina, thank you very much. Katrina, you talking to us from Beijing.